Hello, brothers and Lewis, brothers and sisters of Accounting 201. This is Brother Lewis coming to you at the very beginning of the semester. I wanted to make sure I reviewed with you the syllabus as well as some navigational assistance on Canvas, in addition to just setting some general expectations for the semester. This will be a very difficult class for you this semester. Accounting 201 is the gateway course to accounting. And so it is generally intended to weed people out, if you will. And so without some serious interest in accounting, you will find this subject very difficult. The average grade is around a C. So if you happen to be an A student and other subjects, but for some reason are finding it difficult to work through this class, it will not be a surprise. This is a very difficult class, very fast-paced class, and you will have to stay engaged throughout in order to make sure you get through this with a passing grade. With that, let's just go over the syllabus real quick, and then I'll go over the Canvas and then final comments. So here we have your book, right? Textbook is going to be provided. You'll be able to get to it through the McGraw-Hill connection. This will be very important. Almost all the course content is provided through this textbook resource. So workbook exercises, videos, practice workbook, practice assignments, those are all contained in here. I do provide to the students some additional material that I generate. It gives you a little bit more of a practical, if you will, application to the material that you're learning. You can find that here. I've got a channel in YouTube where I've posted by week the different videos that I've done. So if you happen to want to get ahead or want to see what's already been done, you're always welcome to come in here. Weeks 1 is pretty light. I'll end up posting a few more videos into here today, but like week 2, which is coming up pretty quick, you'll see I've got already a whole slew of videos. Most of these are a compilation of videos I've done over the last couple of years. And so they'll go over anything from like quiz problems to a preface for the week. I mean, there's lots of information here. I update it, I modify it from semester to semester, but you'll be able to see what is coming up from week to week. And I usually have it in, the accounting, the week, and like a preface or accounting a week in the office hours, preface. What else do I have in here? I have a couple other things. So this will be some smaller videos that you can go through to help get some insights into what is happening and how to approach some of these problems. That said, going back to the syllabus, this is your primary textbook, your material for the semester. And one note, I don't construct this class, the syllabus, this curriculum. This is constructed by BYU Idaho. I simply facilitate and support you during this process. So any of the things that are in the syllabus come directly from BYU, and my job is to make sure that I provide some support along the way. So you have proctored exams and assessments. So throughout this semester, you'll have 5 exams and several other quizzes. The only thing that you'll need Proctorio set up for is for the exams, but you will have to make sure that this is enabled on a Chrome browser anytime that you start an exam. And so this first week or 2, you'll be tested on your ability to have that. You do need a computer for this class. A phone will not suffice. So please make sure that you are working off a computer that you have access to on a regular basis. and that you have a stable internet and electrical capability. That may sound strange to say, but you need a stable internet connection for proctorial for sure. And when you take these classes, these exams, you need to make sure that you time it so that you have internet power. And that you, I've had students have problems because their keyboard is funky and they maybe hit the lock keyboard function out and they can't get back in. So there's a couple of different things. This is a very technologically, I don't know, advanced component of the exam. You want to make sure that proctorial is working, that you have internet stability and power stability. You'll find out here in a little bit that I have limited exceptions for not having those. On the structure, you basically, let's see, when we go, the pattern. Before I go through that, take a quiz. Okay, the pattern, this is the pattern of the class. Pretty much you'll go through your study materials, you'll have some homework support within your group. I've already set up those groups. You'll have a support form for the quiz, and then you'll have a quiz access, a quiz, and exam, almost on a weekly cadence. Now that shifts just a little bit. So usually this starts out on Monday. You have your quizzes due either Wednesday or Saturday, and then you have an exam every 2 weeks, basically. It's a 14-week class divided by 5. You get roughly 2.5 weeks or so, almost 3, where you have an exam. So anytime there's an exam, they usually give you a couple days beforehand after you finish the quiz to take the exam. So this pattern usually says it starts on Monday, ends on Saturday, but sometimes the pattern starts on Wednesday and it'll end on Wednesday, and then shift to a Monday through Saturday type of an approach. So don't get lulled into thinking that everything's due on Wednesdays and Saturdays, because sometimes it's due on Mondays and Wednesdays. You'll just need to make sure you look at the upcoming week's activities to understand what's happening. Expectations. This is definitely a 12-hour class, unless you are super engaged in accounting already and you know the material to some degree, or you're very organized or very, very good at math. But definitely this is a 12-hour class. You cannot get an A without putting in some serious effort on this class. You will be divided into groups and do some presentations of some material, as well as just some support. I recommend that you rely on each other quite a bit. Putting this back to maybe in gospel terms, the Lord and our Father in heaven are there to support us, but we support each other on a day-to-day basis. We support each other in terms of families, in terms of friend groups, in terms of church. There's lots of different ways we provide support to each other, and that's how the Lord works. And oh, by the way, that's how this semester works. You will find much better strength in working through this material if you are able to work with your groups. While I will provide some help from time to time, I rely on the groups and each other to work together, because you will be able to help each other out much better than I will, because I'll be able to give you quote unquote the answer, but that doesn't help you when you get to an exam and you need to be able to work through something to get to the answer. And so working that out with each other will be a very, very powerful, I'd say, a tool in your tool bag to get through this semester. Late work. Effectively, there is no late work. I expect, well, actually BYU expects that you complete your work on time. No late work will be accepted. I do have some discretion to extend some due dates, but those are rare, and it's like what's called a, what is it called? Now that I can't think, now that I'm thinking of it, I can't think of it. Tornadoes, earthquakes, they're called force majeure, right? So if I go to my good old friend, well, this is force majeure, okay? And let's see what the definition of the word is really, right? Force majeure, an extraordinary occurrence beyond control, which prevents one or both parties from fulfilling their obligations. Now, you'll say that maybe you live in an area where internet or power issues are common. That is not extraordinary. That is common for you. Is just as common for me if that happens as well, because I expect that internet will be available, and I work to make sure that internet is available. And if for some reason that's not the case, then I need to plan for it. And the way that I plan for those things is by doing things early. So you'll find that most of these, if I go to like the modules, right, you'll find that usually you have 3 to 5 days to get your assignments complete. So for example, let's look at this quiz that's coming up, right? The quiz is due on the 29th. That is when it is due. It is not when you can start on it. So actually, assignment settings, I'll find it in here. So like on this one, you'll be able to start on it on the 15th and is due on the 29th. So you actually have 14 days to do this. That means that you effectively have to work ahead of schedule. If you are likely, if it is common that you have power or internet issues, you will want to work ahead of schedule. Otherwise, you will fail certain assignments, and the more assignments you fail is likely that you will fail the semester. So remember, I'm really looking at force majeure issues, extraordinary occurrences beyond your control. That is something that is not common for you and super extraordinary. So to be honest, power outages, internet outages do not fall in this category. Death of a friend or of not immediate family members does not count for this. If they're a direct family member, like your brother, sister, your mother, your father, yes, death does happen, and that should be accounted for, and I'll provide some time for that. But most any other thing, I will not. And so you'll have to convince me why this is an extraordinary event way beyond your control that you should get an extension. Otherwise, I do not provide extensions for forgetting. I do not provide extensions for family life getting in the way. I do not provide extensions for I'm sick for 3 days. Unless you're in the hospital for 5 or more days, I do not provide an exception. You need to work through those and make sure that you're getting stuff done. All right, that is where my discretion is, and it is for a couple of reasons. Number one, the pace of this course does not allow you to fall behind. If you fall behind, you'll be behind forever, and you will not be able to succeed. In addition, within the accounting realm, late work is not acceptable. Late reporting is not acceptable. Late anything really is not acceptable. And so this accounting class does not accept late work. All right. So let's make sure that both from a professional standpoint and just from an overall personal standpoint that we are on top of this class. There are a couple of assignments that you can retry multiple times until you get them to the point you want them to be at 100% or 90% or whatever you want them to be. Quiz access, smart book assignments, and these ones are kind of misleading. Concept video assignments are not graded, and therefore you really don't have to do them, but I do suggest that you do them, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But quiz access, you have to get, and I think it says up here, an 85% or higher in order to gain access to the actual quiz. Think of it as a practice quiz. And BYU Idaho will not let you take the quiz until you have mastered the material to a point where you can at least get a decent grade on the quiz. So this one, you have to get 85%, then it unlocks the quiz. All right. So you can take it as many times as you want. SmartBook is the same thing. It's a practice exercise. So the more you do this, the more you become comfortable with being able to take the quizzes and therefore the exams in the longer term. There is no extra credit. You missed an assignment, you're late, whatever, there is no extra credit. This is the grading scale, typical grading scale. If you do have a disability, please contact me. I have received one or two notifications, but if you have a specific issue you want to review with me, please make sure you do, and make sure that this is well communicated in terms of what you need, and then I will work with you on that. In most cases, though, this does not extend to late assignments unless your specific condition is uncontrollable and extraordinary, and it already have been defined as extraordinary if I've been notified that you have a disability. However, that does not eliminate the need for you to be on time and to get things done unless that extraordinary aspect of your life gets in the way. And so you need to make sure you communicate to that with me regularly and on time. No 3 days left afterwards or 5 days afterwards asking for extensions for something that happened or could have been communicated sooner. All right, and this is the actual week-to-week review. So make sure you understand this. It also shows up on your modules, right? So each module, you'll have a weekly view of what's coming up, right? These dates, let me change my screen so that I'm looking at it from a student's view. And we'll get there in just a second. Okay, so it'll tell you, all right, when it's due. It'll also tell you if you're able to get into it, right? Available on the 15th, for example, on this one. So many of these modules, you can work ahead of schedule and get things done before they're due. Lastly, what else did I want to show on here? So you'll see, week one, pretty much straightforward, easy stuff. Week two, you start your SmartBook activities, you have a presentation, and then you have your quizzes at the end of the week. So usually first of the week, you'll be reviewing the material. Midweek, you'll have some assignments that are due, and then end of the week, you'll have a quiz. But that shifts just a little bit as you get down. You'll notice that this is all grayed out because it's not open yet. Once it opens up, then it'll become black and available. But you'll see like week three, you have mostly just SmartBook exercises. Then you do have a presentation that's due week four. So week three is sort of like a lull, and you shouldn't take it as a lull. You should take it as an opportunity to get ahead, and that way you can get these quizzes done, let's say on the Saturday beforehand instead of the midweek, and then you truly are 3 to 5 days ahead of schedule and can deal with life's risks. And I have them just as you have them, and I got to make sure that I'm always on top of it, just as I expect you to be on top of it. All right. So you'll be able to see your first exam like is in week 5, right? And these usually cover 2 chapters at a time. Just FYI, you'll be able to see that when you go in there, but which chapters is covering, and I'll give you heads up as we get closer to that. But that's your modules view, right? The syllabus is here in your student view, so it has all the information you need to have. Oh, right over here, you'll see these weighted assignments. Concept videos have no weighting, and therefore, even though they look like they are assignments that you need to do, they're purely optional, but I would recommend you do them. These are very important videos that help walk you through how to approach a particular problem in a very step-by-step method. But your biggest scores are going to be around the exams. 55% of your score is all related to exams, and there's 5 of them, right? So each one of them is 100 points, and each of them is a massive score on your overall grade. Therefore, all this other stuff, while it is important, and you can get 100% on most of these, if not all of them, you can get very near 100%. If you get 100% on 45% of the work, right, that's 45 points. But if you get 50% on your exams, let's call it 25 points. So you've got a 70% grade if you get 100% on everything, but 50% on your exams. So you really have to get to a point where you're getting something like 100% on your quizzes and somewhere around 85 to 90% on your exams in order to pass with an A in this class or a B. You really have to do well in your exams in order to pass this class, okay? Let's see. I will post announcements from time to time. You'll see the first 2 that I've gotten here. These are very important. I put in lots of information. I put in links to the videos on YouTube in here. You'll want to make sure that you review these announcements and that you, if you have questions, you can even do a little search and find it, because there's lots of questions like sometimes folks will ask me, when do I present? Well, yeah, at some point in this semester, I will put together a little matrix of what weeks and what people are presenting. And that will be an important announcement for you to refer to all the time, because sometimes that gets lost after we've done the assignments. Okay, so pay attention to the announcements. Course materials are already the textbook. This is your Connect. So usually when you do your McGraw-Hill Connect, you'll come in here and it'll sync you up. You'll begin this registration process, and you'll have to set up your account in Canvas, or excuse me, in McGraw-Hill if you don't already have it. So make sure you get that set up pretty quick. You can always see where you're at in terms of grades by here. And if you have any missing assignments, they'll show up as zeros, but you'll be able to see your scores and be able to work through kind of how that's shaping out for your overall grade. On the people side, this will show you a list of everybody that's in the class. And it'll also show you what groups are assigned. This one is showing homework discussion groups, right? So you can see, you'll be able to see which group you're in. I've already got this set, so you're associated with groups. And then I also have, once we get the signups done, you'll also be able to come here and see if you're signed up for a particular presentation, right, for any particular week. You do have tutoring resources, so please make sure to, well, this one doesn't come in very well. Let me go back out, leave student view. There will be tutoring resources. These will also have videos assigned to them as well. So this is the Accounting 201 and Accounting 101 tutoring resources. You'll be able to actually find all sorts of help inside of here. In addition, at some point, you'll be able to meet with some of the folks that actually do tutoring on a regular basis through BYU, Idaho. You'll see that Mike, he has several Accounting 201 study resources. His is very similar to mine. It's just his, right, is in this format. So he's got all of his. You can go through these tutoring resources. He's got videos on a lot of these problems. And he's done very similar to mine, but his is in Canvas and mine's in YouTube, all right? So feel free to either use Mike's stuff or our brother Mike's stuff or my stuff, all right, on YouTube. Otherwise, I think that's all I have. Biggest thing is not taking this class as if it's just some random prerequisite class to get through a certificate. This is a very, very hard class. I've mentioned is like you're learning Martian or any other language. It takes a lot of work, and this is a very difficult subject for many people. So let me know if you have any questions. I know I'm a little, I don't know, most folks find that my initial introduction to this semester is pretty scary, and it should be. If you find within this first week or two that this is not for you, you should drop the class and not take it until you have to, or until you're prepared for it, or until life circumstances is in a situation that you can take it with some form of focus. Otherwise, you will have a difficult time passing this class. And I want to make sure you know that up front, and it's not some surprise in 3 to 5 weeks from now or 6 weeks from now, and you're completely anxious about it. You feel like a failure. I don't want you to feel like a failure. I want you to be prepared to successfully complete this class. And so please take my sternness a little bit up front as just a warning that this cannot be taken with, this is not an easy class. And I'm not a professor like some of the other professors that'll just give you carte blanche every time that you feel like you didn't need to submit the assignment on time, that I'm going to give you an extension. That is going to happen maybe once or twice maximum during the semester, and it's only for extraordinary events. So you really do need to stay on top of this class throughout. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to working with you in the next 14 weeks. So take care. Bye.